Okay, so we have put our tuners away in a Ziploc baggie. We have put all of our bits and pieces away in a magnetic parts tray. And now what we're gonna do is just use some glass cleaner basically and spray it on the rag, not on the guitar, and try to get off some of the heavier goo here. I'm gonna keep using a different part of the rag because little bits of wood are coming off on the rag. Essentially, I don't want to drag them around on the body and scratch it up. I mean, it's a 70s Epiphone. Who gives a crap, right? Seriously, that's how people thought when I was a kid. They just had zero respect for any of the Japanese guitars. I'm glad that people, you know, some people really dug them and collected them and saved them from being just trashed and realized the value in them. These Japanese guitars are neat, man. Old Japanese guitars are neat. I'm trying to get off the egregious goo. Years of Goo. It's the name of my autobiography. We're getting somewhere now. Get off the built-up crust, yo. By the way, if you're watching this and you don't know why I'm like spraying this stuff on the rag and not on the guitar, wood swells. That's reality, is if you get wood wet, it swells up and you can mess up your finish. Anytime you can avoid moisture on a guitar, you should do so. Every guitar and every amp has some white house paint on it. All right, you can maybe see there. I'll flip it over. I know this isn't the best lighting. We have another little chip there and a little bit of a chip right there. Both we're gonna put just a smidgen of black paint into, along with that one on top. If you're seeing a bunch of gunk all over this, it's because I'm using a cloth that I use to polish something with, so it's got a bit of polishing compound on it still, which you know, is not gonna hurt. Right now I'm just trying to get off the actual gooey stuff. Actually, this guitar was in incredibly good condition. I feel a little bad changing the tuners because it's all original, but you know what? The odds are they're gonna get changed. This isn't perfect, so it's not a collector guitar, it's a player, but it is in very good condition. Now let's switch to a different rag that doesn't have anything on it. Kind of just hand polish this out a little bit. I'm gonna grab some naphtha so we can try to get some of this more difficult stuff off, but always start with the weakest thing you can use, you know? So just a little bit of window cleaner has ammonia in it, so that little bit of ammonia probably goes a long way. But we do have some like white specks and whatnot, and I'm gonna try to get some naphtha on there to see if I can get those out. All right, got our trusty naphtha. I go through this stuff like you would not friggin' believe, man. If you work on old guitars at all, keep this crap around. It's a bit of a godsend. I buy these big things of it at the hardware store for like $8. It's the same thing as like Zippo fluid or Ronsonol, basically, but you pay $6 for a little thing of Zippo fluid. You pay $8 and you get this giant thing of naphtha. So do the math, son. And as you can see, that little bit of naphtha I put on here is going a very long way. So the fact that my bottle of naphtha is almost empty, it's almost empty, shows you how much I do use it. And that's because I use it a lot when I'm building guitars and I'm sanding them. Because sometimes when you're sanding, the grain gets all filled up and it tricks you into thinking that you're done sanding when you're not. Shows you the truth. The reason that I like naphtha is because of what I just told you about water. You can do the same thing with water, but look how quick the naphtha evaporates. It evaporates like almost instantaneously. You're not anywhere near as likely to swell up the wood. So now what we're going to do is grab some polishing compound and we're going to hand polish this body. Well, crap, dudes. I just polished this entire guitar by hand with some Meguiar's polishing compound. But you did not see it because I pushed record twice, which then means it recorded and then stopped recording. This is what you missed. Me doing this fast, like this. Like a whole bunch of this. That's how you polish. Coat the whole thing with polishing compound, then rub it real fast with one cloth, and then rub it real fast with another once you get the polish kind of all off. Sorry you missed that. I'm an idiot. Yay. So we're moving on to filling this little chip here. And I'm going to do that with just regular old Testors model paint. All right, we have our paint and we have a tiny little brush that wasn't tiny enough, so I gave it a haircut. I'm not even going to dip into the thing. I'm just going to use the cap here and see if I can get enough. And maybe I cannot. I definitely cannot. So I'm going to have to dip in here, get a little bit more. I wish this brush was smaller, but it's what I got. Repair complete. Now I'm going to do the one on the back side right here. That one's a little gnarlier. And there's a little bit right here, which is really just a kind of finish smear. Tiny, tiny, tiny one right there. And that's kind of it, my dudes. You can still see it. It's still there. But guess what? From 6 feet, you can't. It's no longer there from 6 feet. You can go further with this. You could put on, say, some super glue to fill in the hole the rest of the way, and then scrape it off, sand it, and polish it. But that's just not going to happen here today, sirs and lady. Let's do the same thing to our beautiful little headstock here. We're going to start out with just some Windex, basically, some glass cleaner. Clean off the goo. Ooh, it's kind of polishing our nut, too. Green. We're going to grab a tiny bit more of our polishing compound here. Hey, I can finally show you the part you missed. I did the same thing on the body. I basically rub it on with my hand. You can use a rag. Don't have to use your hand if you're scared of getting polishing compound on you. We can get it on the nut too. It'll polish the nut. We'll have a finely polished nut. All right, and then we're just gonna take our cloth and we're gonna go fast. Don't press hard, go fast. I wanna go fast. And once you've kind of got everything off there, you can switch to a clean, dry rag and go fast again. Then you can slow down and baby it if you want. Speed is the secret to polishing, though, not pressure. Go fast. Don't worry about pressing hard. Look at that brass shine. It's kind of one way to know that something's from the 70s. If it's got a brass nut, it's probably from the 70s. Maybe 80s, most likely 70s. Now we're going to go back to our old friend naphtha and clean our fretboard. We'll do this again later, after we take tape off of it. But for now, we're just working on the grubbies. Which actually, this thing really wasn't that dirty, which is a nice change. So used to getting guitars that are like so god-awful freaking dirty. Gets to be kind of annoying. Because that's usually how you get a deal. Is you get something that somebody never used, or you get something that somebody used a ton, but then like finally had the money to upgrade or something, and you get their castaways and they're always gross. There's a lot of paint rubbed off on the heel here, and I doubt I'll be able to get any of that off. Maybe. We'll try. All things change with time and pressure. Good enough for me. Alright, step next is to get all this stuff off of the pickguard. I already pulled the knobs off because I was honestly a little scared that they were gonna break. I have had a guitar with these knobs before and they broke coming off, but these came right off, which was super nice. We're gonna have to use this miniature little set of channel locks. These belong to my dad. Want to know how I know? They have Wimp engraved in them. Wimp was my father's nickname. Don't ask. He definitely wasn't a wimp. But he did engrave his damn name into everything he owned. So there's that. He was like proto Casey Neistat. Pickguard, ready to be cleaned. Alright, again, we're just starting out with some glass cleaner. Sorry for lack of commentary, I'm cleaning plastic. What a freaking cool pickguard, man.